Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, To Time of My Life, the channel that is all about intentional and abundant living. I'm Deandra, and today I am just sitting down, doing my weekly self-care, sitting with self, drinking my morning coffee and catching up on some reading and journaling. And there was something that came to mind that I just wanted to sit and share with you guys and kind of get your take on this thought process. Well, these things that I'm trying to process. So this month's read is Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson for my book club. And one of the themes in the book is, the sacrifices that we make as parents, right? And there is this particular parent in the book. She's a Caribbean woman, and she had to make some hard decisions as it relates to her children, and it's very, very interesting. I just cannot put it down. But one of the things that felt so relatable for me as a mother at this stage in my life is, the fact that we have to make some hard decisions for our children when we're walking in the vein of intentionality, right? When we want to look ahead or to look at the whole child, right? We want to make decisions that would just benefit them for the long run, not just the short term, right? And one of those things that kind of has me in the chokehold at this stage in my life is picking the right educational institution for my baby girl. So you guys know from my last video, I talked about, Cass graduating from kindergarten and then Chasey graduating from primary school. And so with her in particular, I'm like at this place where I really have to find the correct or the best fit, for her as it relates to school, right? Because my girl hates school. She does not like, she keeps saying, oh, mommy, there's too much tests, or, it's a fight in the morning to get her up because she just does not, she's kicking and she's going to school, but she's doing it kicking and screaming. And, when we think about the formative years, especially me as an educator, imagine how that has my heart bleeding, because it's like, these are like some of the best years of your life. Like, why do you hate school? And at first we were, thought like it would have grown off of her, and she would kind of get used to it. But K3 kicked and screamed. K4 kicked and screamed. And then finally at K5, she was like, okay, a little bit getting used to the idea. But I think the system that we put her in, which is basically teach, test, she despised, right? And she was very opinionated about participating in that daily torture, is basically what she described it as. And it saddens me because we put the boys in the same system, which is like the ABECA curriculum, right? And ABECA is kind of raved for just having that structure. They have the textbooks and the teachers get to teach verbatim, right? So it's just supposed to stick, and it does. She's very bright, she's reading on level, all that sort of thing. So the information stuck. But when we're looking at the whole child, it's like she's just miserable at school. And so now what was really pressing on my heart, and as I could relate to this character in the book Black Cake, is that you really have to make some hard decisions as it relates to your children. And then it got me to think of the educational system that we grew up, right? Didn't we grow up in the system that was, curated, designed for us years ago to keep us compliant? When you really look at it, now that I'm adult, looking in hindsight, there's not much to change in the curriculums than, when I was in school, right? And even though route has its place, it really makes you kind of try to understand or try to question, is the educational system that we're in now, is it beneficial to today's children? Or is it the best fit for today's children without, the upgrades that is supposed to happen, when the world changes, right? But now we have the AI and creativity and all these things. And if you put your children in a system where it's just like, okay, let me teach the information and then test you next week on it without like that real life experiences and just book work, like, is that the right fit for our children in today's world? And so I'm battling between, okay, should I give her the structure and make sure that, she's able to read, write, comprehend arithmetic and all the things, just make sure that's kind of like ingrained in her? Or do we go the route of making sure that baby girl is happy every day and in creation and, just developing her whole self? And not wanting her innocence and her zest for curiosity to be kind of watered down or completely destroyed because of the system. And I say that because it's so interesting talking to her because, I ask her, as we normally ask kids, Cass, what do you want to be when you grow up? On her birthday, I asked her on her birthday a few weeks ago, Cass, what do you want to be when you grow up? And my girl said, I want to be myself. That's the type of daughter that I have, right? Her innate qualities is just sovereignty and just, this spirit of like, I'm born sovereign. I'm born like with all the things that make me whole. Like I don't want to conform like to these systems. And I'm like, this is indeed my child. So I can't fault her for it. But now I have to think intentionally about what kind of system do I want her in that's not going to strip away her autonomy and her agency and just all the things that makes her her, and to not put her in places that is just going to make her compliant. That's not the type of, daughter that I want to raise. I want to raise someone with curiosity and is able to question and challenge things that may not make sense and do the inquiry learning and the discovery learning. And so, so I've just been sitting with that. And Charmaine Wilkerson's book, Black Cake, just evoked, those thoughts. So what I really want to find out from you guys is, what do you think? What do you think about as it relates to intentional parenting and, making those hard decisions? What are your takes on this? Do you feel like you should keep your child in a system that, you're sure you're going to get the results of the reading comprehension and, being able to study for tests and all those things and mastering that? Or do you think we should put our children now in systems that grows the whole child and allows them to have that kind of discovery learning and have those curriculums curated just for them? So let me know your thoughts in the comments and any recommendations you would have for a curriculum that would best fit someone like my girl child. Thank you so much for sitting with me this far, guys. And I look forward to having that conversation in the comments. Bye for now.